Hey, what's up friends? Moses here from Driver Success. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I have three plans on me. The first place I'm going to is a place I've not been at before. It's called Clampit Paper. It's out in Dallas, so I'm gonna see how that place is. It looks a little bit easy to get in, but I couldn't tell if there is a gate or not, so we'll see when we get there. This is where I want to turn. So the question is, where exactly am I going? I see two places where I could be going, but I'm not sure which one, so probably I should first go straight, because they have the store and then they have this place right here. So this place looks tight.
Arriving at 9207 Ambassador Row on the right.
It looks tight in there, backing up. Receiving door number 8 from 7:30 to 2:30. It says my appointment is at 4:30. This guy's, the sign says 7:30 to 2:30. Hopefully they take me. Where's the number 8? This place looks a little tricky to back into, but we are gonna see. Well, it's not that bad. Depends on what's in. Go look for receiving now. So looks like they're gonna take me. I'm gonna back into that dock right there, so it's not bad. Now that I'm backed in, let's talk about something. Say you watch my videos and you decide, you know what, I think I want to give JB Hunt a try. So you get your phone, you call Susan and tell her that Moses from Driver Success referred me to you. He said you can help me out. What positions do you have available? She tells you I have something local. It's an intermodal position, pays good. Do you want to join? You come and join JB Hunt, right? So you get in, you come with some expectations. I just want to talk to you guys that may decide to come work for JB Hunt. I'm specifically going to be talking about the local intermodal position, and I'm just going to share with you my experiences to help you kind of start off on a good note, so that your career at least can get off in with the right kind of understanding of how JB Hunt works. So when you come in, the first thing they're gonna do is they will give you a trainer. So I'm saying after you've been hired, everything gone through orientation, you've been hired, you're gonna go out with a trainer, and they usually give you 2 weeks with a trainer. Now if after those 2 weeks you feel like you still need more training, you can always request for more training until you feel comfortable to go by on your own. But let's say you go out with a trainer 2 weeks and you get off the truck. First and foremost, the first thing you're going to realize is when you go out with a trainer, they are going to pay you now. As I said, I'm sharing with you my experience. I don't know if this applies to all the terminals everywhere, but the way they're going to pay you when you are with a trainer, they're going to pay you for all the money you make that day with a trainer. The way they pay the trainer is totally different. They pay them by the hour. They have a trainer's pay. So whatever loads you do, because remember, we get paid by the activity pay, meaning we get paid by the load, any exceptions you may have, and also by the miles. So whatever money you make while you are with a trainer, that money goes to you. So you come, you go out with a trainer, and then you realize, oh, I'm just gonna give you an average. Let's say you make $250 a day, right? And you get excited, you're like, ooh, $250 a day. Now, of course, this is gonna depend, depending on where you live. As I told you guys, every state pays different, right? So maybe some places you may make $300 a day, $200 a day, $250, $280. It doesn't matter. Just as an example, I'm just gonna say you make $250 a day. So you get excited saying, wow, this is good money. And then in your head, you are calculating, if I make $250 a day for 5 days or for 6 days, that will be so much. You're excited, you're like, okay, this can work. Now the challenge is when you go out on by yourself after the training, you may end up making $200 instead of $250. You may think, oh, okay, that's just the first day. Then before you know it, the whole week, you realize you're not hitting the amount of money that you made with your trainer. That's when you may start getting kind of frustrated. But I just want to encourage you not to give up, because remember, you are just still getting to know stuff. There's stuff that you need to know before you get back to that amount that you want to make. So when they are giving you loads, one of the things you must remember, they are giving you loads when you are with your trainer. They are giving you loads based on your trainer. They know that trainer knows what he's doing, so they're gonna give you good loads. When you start out by yourself, chances are they are still also trying to figure out how well you are working. They're not overwhelming you. So be patient with yourself. That's the first thing I want to encourage you to do, because you need to learn how to get in and out of the rail. You need to learn how to use the people net. You need to learn how the customers operate. Maybe if you're in a new area, you may have to learn directions to customer places. There's a lot that you need to learn. So my encouragement to you, the first thing I want to encourage you to do is be patient with yourself. I would say give yourself about maybe 4 to 6 weeks for you to feel comfortable with what you're doing. So that's the first thing. Be patient with yourself. The other thing is, during those first weeks, you want to learn certain things. Remember, we are paid based on the activity we do. So one of the things you want to remember is to learn the exceptions, because you don't want to leave any man at the table. We get paid by what we do. So when you move an empty move, you want to remember to put it in there as an exception that you moved an empty move. Now, that doesn't mean that every empty move is an empty move, but you need to know what the difference is. That when you are moving an empty from one place, point A to point B, if they tell you to move an empty, you need to be paid for that. If you get to a customer and then maybe the load doesn't pick up, remember to put in an exception. It's called like the truck order not used. You want to put in that exception. If you break down, you want to put in a breakdown pay. From that time you break down, the first thing you want to mark is what time you are driving down and then you get a tire failure. First thing you want to look at is the time, because you're going to start charging JB Hunt from that time until you are done with getting that tire fixed. So you want to know everything you get paid for. Don't just assume that maybe they don't pay you for it. Ask. If you are not sure, ask somebody. If you get paid for whatever, ask your manager, but always remember to record what you are doing and put in an exception. Don't forget that. The other thing you want to learn is learn your customers. And what I mean by learning customers, you realize there are some customers whereby you're getting in and out fast. Then there are some customers that are slow. You want to know how far customers are. You want to know which customers have empties. Let's talk about empties. So you go to deliver to a customer and then they don't have an empty. You have to go to look for an empty. The way I do it is if I don't find an empty and I need an empty, the first thing I do is before I leave that customer, I send a message to dispatch and I tell them that where can I find, what's the good place to find an empty for my next load. But when I send that message, I also start moving, because remember, we get paid by the loads and by the miles. So I'm not sitting there waiting for them to reply, because sometimes they're gonna take a little bit of time before they get back to you. So because I already know where some customers are, where I'm thinking I may be able to find an empty, I start driving right away. And if I get to the customer and they don't have an empty, at least probably they've sent me a message telling me where they think I may be able to get an empty. So as you learn customers, try to figure out which customers usually have empties, which customers are slow in getting in and out. You just want to have that information, because it's gonna come in handy when we talk about something else. But learn where the empties are, because that's gonna save you a lot of time. You want to always be moving, and don't wait for dispatch to get back to you about empties. Just keep driving, keep moving, keep looking for empties, because you get paid for the miles you drive. So remember, the more you keep that truck going, the more you are earning money. The other thing that you want to do is you want to know where your customers are. For example, I don't know if I can show you what I mean by this. One of the things you're gonna realize is, let's say, let me try and show you this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let's say you drive within this radius, right? Let's say the deliveries in your area are made within this. There are customers that are going to be like this side, that are very far. There are customers that are going to be kind of in the middle, and then there are customers that are going to be very close to that terminal, okay? Now, the reason why I say I think it's everywhere, I've worked in the Southgate terminal, I've worked in the San Bernardino terminal, and even here in the Hazlet, it's the same thing. There are customers that are kind of far, there are customers that are in the middle, there are customers that are very close to the terminal. One of the things you're going to have to do is to learn how to manage your time, especially during the end of the shift. When you realize you have maybe like an hour, 2 hours, you want to ask dispatch to give you loads based on where you are going. So for example, if I realize I have an hour left and I can do a load that goes maybe like in the middle here, I'm going to ask dispatch. I'm going to send them a message before I get maybe my last load, and I tell them, hey boss, do you have anything going to, and I will mention maybe like the name of the customer, maybe like usually one of the customers I usually ask, I will say maybe, do you have a load going to Walmart in maybe Sanga? I can take it. And then they will check, and usually they will come back and tell you whether they have a load or not. Instead of me just saying that, hey boss, do you have one more pre-plan? When I said that, they may give me something that is very close. That means instead of me utilizing my hour, I may just utilize it 30 minutes. So knowing where your customers are and how fast you get in and out is important, because you don't want to ask for a load where you may get there and the customer takes their time. Of course, with trucking, you never know, things happen. But the other thing is, maybe you realize you just want a load that will take you 30 minutes. Then you want to ask them, hey, may you find me a load that is close by the yard? Then they will get you something that is close by. You can even mention the customer, hey, do you have anything going to, for example, in our case, I may say, do you have anything going to maybe like JCPenney, Amazon, or Johnson's, something close by. That way they know exactly what I'm looking for. So knowing where your customers are is important, but also communicating with dispatch is also important, because when you tell them what you want, then they can be able to help you better. Which brings me to the other point of communicating. So usually for me, what I do is, they are really good at, like pre-planning you ahead of time, but sometimes they may maybe miss pre-planning you, or they may think you're gonna be off. So what I do as I'm doing my last load before I leave the customer, if I don't have a pre-plan on me, I send them a message and ask them, hey, what's the pre-plan? And sometimes I may just ask them what's the pre-plan, or sometimes, as I said, I may specifically ask them for certain customers so that I can utilize my time properly. So communicate with dispatch. They are really, really nice at working with you. And that, of course, brings me to something else, which is train your manager. I know that may sound funny when I say train your manager, but what I mean with by that is, when you start out working with JB Hunt, your manager has to learn you. You have to learn how to work with them, right? And also, like people in the office, like the manager and the load planners, they are trying to know what kind of person you are, what's your work ethic, how many hours do you want to work. So they are learning. Are you somebody that is very slow? Are you somebody that is fast? They want to know how you are. So train them on what you want. And by that I mean, like, if they realize you are somebody that takes your time, you are very slow, you ask a lot of questions, even the small things you should be solving yourself, you are always asking, they are going to treat you like that. They will give you loads that are take where they know you are going to take your time. If they realize you are somebody who is always on the go, you want to move fast, they are going to give you loads accordingly. Some of them that have been there for a long time, they will even know what time you usually get off. They are, because they are managers, they are also learning how you work. So it's up to you to kind of train them. And by that, of course, I'm saying, if you're somebody that, like you take an hour's break or 2 hours break, well, they're gonna treat you like that. So it's gonna be something where you have to tell them, if you want to work 14 hours a day, then they will know that this guy works all his 14 hours a day. If you're somebody who wants to work 8 hours a day, then they're gonna say, okay, give him loads whereby he's only gonna work 8 hours a day. So it's your responsibility to work with your manager. The other thing that I would say is, one of the things you want to do is don't try to solve problems by yourself. Don't try to ask every little thing. That is one thing I've noticed, that some of the managers usually don't. They look at these things and they know, oh, this guy, if we give him this load, he's going to ask us, he's going to be calling every time. And somehow to them, you are kind of like wasting their time. So you also want to kind of learn how they work. For example, if you know that they usually want you to send messages via the people net instead of calling, as much as possible, try to work with them by sending them messages instead of you calling every time for every little thing. So the better you work with them, the smoother it's gonna be also for you and for them too, because you want to be known as somebody that like also cares about them, because your manager has probably a bunch of other drivers he's working with. So the less he has to worry about you, if he or she knows that like he will give you loads and you get things done, then they are going to give you loads and they're gonna just leave you to work by yourself. When you call in, they know there is a reason why you are calling in, so they usually will pick up the phone. Luckily for me, I also don't want to be on the phone, so usually I'm just sending messages. If I call in, it's because I really need help, and most of the time they will answer my call right away. again, it's gonna depend on which manager you have, but I'm gonna tell you personally, all the managers, we have managers changing all the time. But personally, all the managers I've had, whether it's in Southgate, whether it's in San Valentino, whether it's here in Hazlitt, I've had a good experience with all the managers. So those are things that you just need to pay attention to. Learn the people net, learn customers, learn the exceptions, communicate, ask for loads. When you have time, don't just get off. If you still want to work, ask for loads. What else? I think those are the things that manage your time. Those are the things, they are things that you learn just as you start working. But I'm telling you, when you learn those things, then you will start moving, and when you start moving, you'll be able to make the money that you made with your trainer. But what I want to encourage you is, here when you are starting out, you may be a little bit discouraged, but it's because you are just learning the system, you are learning customers, you are learning the people net, you are learning directions and all that stuff. So give yourself about 4 to 6 weeks, and you should be able to run, you should be able to know the system. And if you don't know anything, then ask. Drivers are really nice at helping out, and your manager, I'm sure, will be also good at helping you out. I like one of the things that we have in the office. They have this big banner that says, I forget what it says. I think it says something like understand or care or something, but I love it because I think they do live to that. They try their best at least. So hopefully that helps you out. If you have any questions, moses@driversuccess.com is my email. Send me an email and let's talk about it.